Hello my friends, I hope you are doing very well. At the beginning of the last century, aristocrats and wealthy people built many impressive big mansions in Madrid. Today, luckily, some of them are still standing. In this video, we'll talk about the architecture, of their history, and also about the architects and first owners. So, let's get to it. Palacio de Bermejillo, Casa de GARAY, and the Palacio de TRINIDAD. King Alfonso XIII in 1915 granted the title of Marquis of Bermejillo to the Mexican Francisco Javier Bermejillo. His family, of Basque origin, had made a fortune in Mexico. The wife of the Marquis was Mrs. Julia Schmidtland y Garcia Teruel. Maybe because of her Germanic surname, the Marquis hired the German architect Franz Rank for the construction of her future palace in Madrid. Doña Julia and Franz were fed up of French palace style. They agreed that Madrid's architecture was already too contaminated by French influence. They didn't like modernist style either, which was becoming fashionable all over the world. Franz Rank traveled around Spain in search of inspiration, and he found it in Granada. The 17th century Palacio de Salcedo will serve Rank to provide the future Marquis de Bermejillo Palace, an authentic Spanish architectural tradition. Besides, France is going to configure the palace of the Marquises with elements of Renaissance constructions from Salamanca and Alcalá de Henares, like the Renaissance gallery with round arches and corner windows. Look at the main floor with wrought iron balconies and the pilasters decorated in Plateresque style. Nice, isn't it? And the most spectacular, those huge wooden eaves that serve as hut to each of the towers. And what about the limestone terrace with florons linking the two towers? The Marquises of Bermejillo were delighted with the result. Doña Julia transformed her palace into a house museum by decorating it with wonderful furniture, mirrors, and Renaissance work of art of great value. Many parties were held in Bermejillo's mansion, some with the attendance of King Alfonso XIII. The Marquises were excellent hosts. But in 1931, a fearful and unsuccessful Alfonso XIII hushed into exile. A year later, the economic turmoil prevailing in post-revolutionary Mexico ruined the Marquises and forced them to sell their palace. I don't know what remains of Mrs. Julia Schmidtland's art collection, although the building survives in perfect condition. Currently, the building is the headquarters of the Ombudsman's office. Precisely now I remember that I would like to write to our Ombudsman. For example, my complaint of politicians who spend more than they should. But this is another topic. So, let's go to the next Nobiliary Palace. Mr. Antonio Garay Vitorica was a Basque millionaire, owner of vast agricultural extensions in Extremadura. Congressman for 7 years in the Spanish Parliament, representing the CASA province. Real estate developer, one of the founders of Hidroelectrica and businessman with a good nose for making money. One of his most profitable businesses was the beehive factory. His innovative honeycombs supplied all the beekeepers in Spain. In fact, at 47 Dr. Izquierdo Street, there is still La Casa de las Abejas, or bee house in English, the honey store from the factory that Garay founded in 1919. In 1914, Garay commissioned the Basque architect Manuel Maria Smith to build a mansion in an exclusive area that was being built on the outskirts of Madrid. The architect Smith A. Barra had designed already beautiful regionalist mansions. The Casa de Garay is an example of Madrid regionalist architecture with Renaissance touches. The facade is very rich in colors, a mix of materials and textures. What an impressive tower! At the top of the tower, a beautiful forged iron weather vane, and from there we go to the balcony, also with iron railings decorated with beautiful fans. Very elegant, the rectangular windows of the first and second floors with limestone frames. On the first floor, circular windows with artistic wrought iron railings. I find the decorative mullion of the window above the entrance door very beautiful. A decorative delicacy, the two small arches in plateresque style. The central column of palm trees and the lateral ones with rhomboid designs. The Casa de Garay got the award of the Madrid City Council as the best constructed building. After Garay's death, his palace passed through different hands and deteriorated relentlessly. It was on the verge of demolition. As a testimony of Garay's life, it remains a large family coat of arms over the entrance of his mansion. And the bees, the beloved bees that produced its honey in the honeycombs of Mr. Garay's factory. Thanks to those honeycombs, Don Antonio increased his already large fortune. Glad to introduce to you the aristocratic Larios family, one of the greatest fortunes of Malaga and two of Spain. Do you like gin and tonic? When you visit Spain, take the chance to enjoy it with Larios, the Malaga gin named after the family. The most representative street of Malaga is also named after the Larios. Beautiful, isn't it? In Malaga, there is a monument dedicated to the second Marquis of Larios. There it is, a big bronze monument by the famous sculptor Mariano Belluri. Let me introduce you to Don José Aurelio Larios y Larios, third Marquis of Larios, senator in the legislature from 1919 to 1920. He and his second wife, María Alegría de los Ángeles Gutiérrez y Suárez, commissioned the architect Luis Alemany Soler to build their palace in Madrid, the Holy Trinity. The Alemany Soler surname is well known in the Real Madrid soccer club. He, with another colleague, built the stadium of the most prestigious soccer team in the world. The Trinity Palace, Palacio de la Trinidad in Spanish, contains plateresque, Salamanca Baroque and Andalusian elements. Its name derives from the ceramic of the Trinity above the door. The colored roof is typical Andalusian style. Beautiful curved balconies at the corners of the tower. Large eaves that overhang the roof. Pinnacles on the towers. The united arcades. Glazed ceramics. The whole construction is very well proportioned, as we can see from here. An ideal place to celebrate dances and parties among aristocratic friends. And more non-stop parties. But the parties ended after Spain's Republican government accused the third Marquis of Larios of having financed General Franco's coup d'état. The Marquis fled to the city of Burgos, controlled by Franco's army. There he passed away. And the glamour ended. And then came the abandonment and consequent deterioration of the building. The Spanish state took over the mansion, which had different uses until it was auctioned. Pescaderías Coruñesas won the auction. A bargain, 1.5 million euros. The new owner company plans to transform the Trinidad Palace into a luxury restaurant. We wish them luck. Dear friends, I hope you liked our video about 3 palaces in Madrid. All 3 remains of a time when the Spanish monarchy and nobility began their decline. Thus, they seemed not to sense it. So, they built beautiful palaces to show off their fortune or impress everybody with their refined taste. And, of course, to celebrate great parties. Fortunately, these palaces were not demolished. Today, there are a good architectural, historical testimony. But Madrid has many more beautiful spots, and I will be happy to introduce it to you. Please drop me a comment below and tell me which things of Madrid you want me to introduce to you. See you soon. Bye bye.